jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's the jacked up review show.
Join us as we cover many an insane movie and numerous cult TV phenomenons. Are you ready to get jacked up? Are you with us? Then listen on.
Listener discretion is advised. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. It's a jacked up review show. Jacked up review show.
How it goes.
It is. By the way, before we start, thank you for this, and it's been a pleasure talking. It sounds like I'm hanging up. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Goodbye. Screw Bogart.
Do the
Bogart sucks. Click.
I'd be like Johnny Bravo. Do the monkey with me.
Yeah, right, yeah. I don't watch black and white movies.
Oh my god. I only watch subtitles if my grandparents make me.
Yeah, exactly.
They're dead. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fucked up.
But no, this is cool, and I look forward to, if you'll have me, more, or else at least guest on mine or more chats like this. It's
You will have it.
fun.
As long as it's not a weekend, I will make time for it.
Yeah,
Oh,
good.
so I have with me a Widescreen, a film podcast.
Yeah,
Anthony
I should have
Brett-
changed that title until I get it going again, but I'm just gonna leave it 'cause I'm gonna get it going.
That's all good.
Go ahead.
Film connoisseur Anthony Francis and filmmaker himself is on the show for the first ever edition of and ranking an actor's 10 best roles on this show. How have you been?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you very much.
We have been reintroducing ourselves so much that I kid you not, folks, have been talking for about 90 minutes now before
We-
actually going to the actual thing.
Yeah, we have spoken the length of an 80s horror film before we started this podcast.
Oh, the horror.
The horror. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on, and you will be on mine.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So, to start off this game, I just figured it would just be fun to. I had talked about doing a podcast on this before. Is like you have quite the resume there, but then I just figured it was too subjective, and the people I wanted to do it to just could never commit. So I just decided to start it off, and I got a bunch of people to commit to different actors, everyone from freaking Vincent Price to Margot Robbie, just everybody. And I just said, let's rank them based on they own the role. Forget
Right.
about the movie. It's just like they are the best part about it. And this is going to be a little tricky because there's many roles where we like them in, but they're in a role that anyone could have easily done. So
This is
no
true.
hard feelings, folks. If we do or do not reference Casablanca, nothing against it.
We might.
Okay, cool.
We just might.
I have many Bogart roles from movies that are either good or bad, and I mean, we can be detailed with it. Just for the most part, I'm just gonna stick with, it's just very straightforward. Now, if there were more people in here, we could take a vote and say, "Off with your head, that role should not be named."
Exactly. Yeah.
But we're just gonna keep it simple here, and I'll name 5, I guess, and you can name 5.
Sure.
I got a few backups just in case, but long story short, what was your introduction to Bogart just before we rank his roles?
My introduction to Bogart is a film lover's dream. It was in Chicago. I want to say I was 8, and I had seen pieces of him, on television, and when my parents would watch something on television. but I never paid attention. But I went with my parents to see Casablanca in a movie theater, and we sat in the balcony. And
Man.
like it was an old school movie theater. Used to be an opera house, really beautiful. And I felt like Seth Green in the scene in Radio Days when Diane Wiest and her date take him to Radio City Music Hall for the first time. It's this magical place to see a movie. And that's how I saw Casablanca. I saw Casablanca, and I said, mind you, I was 8. I said, yeah, it's okay, but this Bogart guy is cool. You know what I mean?
He has that gaze. He has that. The women are melted by him. The guys are afraid of him and kind of want to be macho like him.
Exactly. And one thing as I got older that I noticed about Bogart, and I do this with a lot of actors, mostly classical actors because of the way acting and directing is nowadays, but I pay attention to how they enter a room, how they sit in a chair.
Yes.
You know, how they light their cigarette, how
Cheap
they
material.
stand in a doorway. And Bogart, man, he had it. He didn't. I never, when I think of Bogart sitting down, I don't notice him sitting down. I'm in the chair now. You know, he just glides into the chair and glides through a doorway. And
Exactly.
I really think
he was a B-movie actor, and much like Cagney, he wanted to escape all these stereotypes he was doing of just playing, so to see them actually be in some musicals or play soldiers or troubled youths instead of just the gangster or prosecutor every time, that they did have a good career. And we'll definitely get into some more of his heavier roles as we go on for this list.
Sure.
I was in the Turner Classic Movies era, so I mean, I would always see caricatures of him in every other Looney Tunes cartoon, but just see parts of his various movies. And he was just always one of those, like, my mother's not so much of a old school movie fan. My dad is, and I'm going to check out his stuff eventually. And Casablanca, I definitely checked out along the way. I also recommend, against better judgment, that everyone check out the riff tracks, because it's just kind of interesting having.
It is funny. I'm a big riff tracks.
A bunch of movie guys talk during the awesome movie.
Yeah, right.
Make fun of the Nazis.
One of the best movies, and they're gonna riff it. Sure, why not? Let's roll for it. Roll it. No, I dig the riff track guys, and
oh yeah.
Yeah. So what's would you like me to pick one, or do you want to pick one to start, or?
Sure. I'll start you off just to get you in the mood.
I'm
gonna go with You Can't Get Away with Murder.
Well, oh well, that's a good one.
And doesn't get talked about enough. I unfortunately would get it mixed up with I have another list in front of me. I would get it mixed up with this other 1937 picture called not Racket Busters. It was All Through the Night and a few other ones, and it was just like, why am I getting it mixed up with this movie? It's nothing alike. I mean, there's a lawyer, there's a similar poster, that's it. Nothing in common. This is also just a very underrated prison movie, but it's also just one of those movies where you watch it and it's like, God, this is a dream role for an actor. This is also just a very extravagant, if you will, just role where you're just seeing, you really are just seeing someone just absolutely just descend into it. You can root for him to either get away with his, wrongdoings, or you can just see how it all plays out. But it's just interesting how he's been part of this old robbery crew. They're all in the big house together, and he's got his own tricks, and he's screwing over everybody, the prison guards, everything. And they even do a final standoff in a train yard. But I think Bogart sells this role for me, not just because of how physically active he is in this, but just because he really goes for just a lot of sinister trickery, which is what the role merited. And
exactly,
it's like that. This is I don't see this mentioned enough. so I have to mention it. I'm sure many of his fans like you have seen it, but it's just like it needs more mention. It's definitely it's definitely my favorite for that year. If I were to rank movies that came out that year,
Oh
it's
wow, very nice.
uh, but just roll aside, like there's some other good players who had big, extravagant, lucrative careers, but I mean, he's the one main big thing you're gonna remember in this movie
Yeah, and
before the
that's a
gunfire.
very good choice, and everything you said, he works so perfectly for that character. I don't love the film as much as you do, but I like it a lot.
Oh no, that's fine. I mean,
He's
and
fantastic.
this is the other problem with some of these movies. Some of these movies are more fun to look at the ideas versus the execution.
Oh sure. Oh, I
Because
could do
this is
10 shows on that.
exactly this is before noir is really taken off and finding its mark in the 40s before it
Yeah,
dissolves in the 50s.
right.
Uh, but yeah, I'll give you that. The first portion of it does kind of drag, and I just mainly just remember all the plot twists and
Yeah. Well, no, it's certainly a good
you know.
film. I didn't mean to.
Oh yeah, no, that's fine. I just pretty much for me, just the ending makes a movie, and with these movies, like I can handle all just the slow build up. I just need the payoff.
Exactly.
Uh,
Sure.
I don't have build up to a robbery and then have like 5 seconds of a shootout. That no, that sucks.
Exactly.
Oh, but yeah,
Don't. Yeah,
he's a
but
badass here, and
he is.
because of the role is a morally conflicting run where you can either root for or against him. He has just more just material to work with. So I'm gonna hand
Yeah.
it off to you. Number 9. What could be number 9?
Number 9. Um, my first choice is going to be one that nobody talks about as well. Um, it's fairly well regarded critically. Uh, Not sure how well it did at the time, but I'm a big Western fan,
Oh, I think you know
and
my pick.
you know where I'm going with this. And I'll admit I don't love this film.
It's all good.
I think the lead actor, James Cagney, is a bit miscast. But you know who isn't miscast? Humphrey Bogart. And the film is The Oklahoma Kid.
And that it's one of many movies where they get to play off against each other in a versus match, and
Exactly.
he has like the goofiest hat, and he
Uh,
sells it. He's a total rascal, and you have to remember he's gonna fucking slit your throat here in a minute if he
oh,
wants.
yeah. Most definitely. Yeah. Bogart's Whip McCord. Love the name. And by the way, a great
Witty
Max
McCoy.
Steiner score. A great Max Steiner score.
Yes.
But Bogart is so. And I saw this for the first time after I had seen Casablanca, Maltese, Big Sleep, African Queen,
All his classics.
and and by then I was a giant Western fan, a giant Bogart fan, and I'm thinking, this isn't going to work at all. James Cagney and Humphrey Bogart as cowboys, I'm going to hate every second.
Yeehaw.
But it's pretty good. Bogart nails it because one thing I love about Bogart, he says, "Yeah, I'll take the role, but I'm not changing my diction. I'm not. But what he does, I believed him as a marauder, if you will, a robber in the Old West. I fully
Totally.
believed him, and he does something so well in all of his films, and he did it here with his eyes. When he's giving you the old "I'm gonna plug you if you come back," kind of line. Whereas
That's what she
Cagney's
said.
yeah, yeah. Whereas when Cagney does it, it's easily
I'm gonna plug
yeah,
you.
it's easy to
Christopher
parody.
Walken
It opens
before-
itself up to parody.
Yeah.
But when Bogart says there's a scene where he takes the money sent by the president, and and then Cagney sees him. For those who don't, I won't go into any more details for those who haven't seen it. But Cagney sees him do it, so on, so on. Everybody's gonna plug everybody at some point.
Totally.
But Humphrey Bogart, when he threatens, and he does it so well here, and that's what made it real for me. I mean, as real as you can be in a 1937 Western with Humphrey Bogart. He has that stare, and it's not an acting stare, and it's not taught. He's looking at you, and he's telling you what's going to happen. It's not Bogart telling you what's going to happen. It's Whip McCord.
Yeah, it's a very good point because everyone goes to Cagney on how he told the truth, and I was like, true, but I've always felt like Bogart, even before his cancer took over the rest of his career, that he was always about being brutally honest because he just had nothing else to give it other than being a performer. And Cagney has good posture, but Bogart just has the stares and the eye.
He does, and he doesn't have to. Cagney was in motion from the waist up. You know what I mean? I mean, he wasn't flailing around.
He was a dancer, and
his face was moving. Yeah, he's a dancer, and his face is moving, his hands. And Bogart, he's stone, and every role, a lot of people argue Bogart's always Bogart. He is, but he isn't. And every role, he inhabits it completely. And he's true. He's solid, and in as Whip McCord, I think he's one of the great unsung, extremely unsung Western bad guys, and I think he takes that movie from everybody involved. I love him in that movie.
And it's kind of weird because like Cagney, you're kind of laughing at because he's just kind of goofy and not knowing what to do with the role.
Yeah,
Bogart, he has just some kind of just Bronsonist type quips, and you just laugh. But at the same time, he's like, "Oh my god, that's fucking badass."
Yeah, you're right, exactly.
I think he's gonna kill me just by staring at my screen.
That's precisely the Lost Ark. Yeah, right. I'm melting. And that's exactly what makes him work in that. Versus Cagney, he can't help speaking like Cagney.
I'm Cagney. Never mind my Italian, and I'm gonna bitch slap you.
Yeah. I'm your sheriff. See,
yeah. And I'm like Joe Don Baker and Mitchell. I'm the hero of the movie, everybody. Oh,
your hero, ladies and gentlemen.
The hero.
I could do a show on Joe Don Baker as well.
Oh, everyone loves Joe Don Baker, even when he's in a bad movie.
And he's been in quite a few. Regrets. I bet he has a few. Yeah. But yeah, there's my first choice, Oklahoma Kid.
Good one. Number 8. So this is a movie that divides some people, but it's pretty well directed. I'm gonna go with Black Legion, where Bogart plays a member of the clandestine hate group of the same name. And I'm telling you, just definitely more eye play. You definitely get a lot more just kind of just mellow and just he totally, the music and the story is what makes the movie, but like he definitely sells just the brainwashing of this individual who sure I'll join the party. I hate
yeah, exactly. I'm all in, and he was all in.
I should see it again, just because I'm sure I'll like it a little more. And it's just it was a rough day when I saw it, but it was just one of those just like worst scene for the performance, worst scene for how it was shot.
Sure.
There's a lot of very disturbing burnings, and I mean they don't even show any casualties, but it's just like jeez.
Yeah, it's
kind of like Thunder Road with Robert Mitchum, but if
yeah, love it.
There you go. But if the grifter had decided to go to the dark side,
that's true. Yeah.
Instead of fight back against crooked people messing with him. So, geez, I'll hand it off to you. Number 6.
I just wanted to say that.
Or number 7. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, I'll let you go. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with that movie, and I love that movie. And a lot of people don't know that Curtiz kind of ghost directed that. I think.
Yes.
Michael Curtiz.
Yeah. He's credited on some sites for it,
but Archie Mayo is the one who. Right, Archie. Yeah, that's right, Archie Mayo.
Archie, Cox, man. Yeah, but yeah, it is wild how. Even before we were having all this bullshit with the Writers Guild based on who actually wrote most of the story, even though you got like 5 different uncredited people being hard to retool it, and they just don't want to share the residuals and all that shit. Or they're just embarrassed to saving face. It's all politics, folks. But
I was gonna say, yeah.
But yeah, the Directors Guild has always been another puzzle. It's like if they started the movie, if they didn't finish it, I mean, I can understand if they shot most of it and then the producer came and shot in the last 2 months of it, but if they were barely there, like were fired after 5 days, don't you credit them as the director. That's not cool. Especially if they use
exactly.
the footage. It's just stupid.
Right. That would be tantamount to on Altman's final film, Prairie Home Companion. They had Paul Thomas Anderson there in case.
Yeah, and him
No.
there.
That would be like crediting Paul Thomas Anderson for co-directing Prairie Home Companion. No, he was just waiting in case he had to.
Right. Or like crediting Bryan Singer for Bohemian. Oh, that's right, they did. But
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing they didn't because oh no, they did. You're right.
Oh, you Academy.
You silly geese.
And at least Dexter Fletcher got a career, and he didn't even get credited. Except
Yeah,
as, like,
really.
producer. Just, like,
For saving their bacon.
making it watchable,
Yeah.
as opposed to the movie that should have been a masterpiece. I mean, you're dealing with Freddie Mercury, and it's like, fortunately, he had a good enough actor in cinematography, but boy, howdy. You can tell the editing crew hated working with just all these different visions.
Yeah, there was a lot of visions in that old Bohemian Rhapsody, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm. Fortunately, Bogart doesn't really have too many movies that seem to be divided, and he has very few regrets, and I'm tempted to even put one of those roles that he regrets on this list, because he's good. We'll see.
I'm going to jump to the end for my second choice.
Number 7. Okay.
The Harder They Fall.
Oh, good one.
It's a movie that people like.
We'll return after these messages.
Hey, feeling down? Feeling low? Not enough podcasts about movies in your life? Why not try
They must be destroyed on sight.
the new Podcast Cure-All? Sure to get you right with the world and on a path to better living. We have exploitation, we have Italian horror, we have zombies, we have slashers, we have crime films, we have spaghetti westerns, we even have sci-fi and sex comedies. So take a dose of
They must be destroyed on sight.
as needed, and let the hosts, Lee Russell, Daniel Harper, Paul Romali, and the odd guest host cure what ails you.
Warning, may cause atrophy, African consumption, black fever, bone shave, chin cough, colic, cramp colic, dropsy of the brain, elephantitis, grocer's itch, jaundice, mania, miasma, mortification, palsy, Pott's disease, rheumatism, scurvy, St. Anthony's fire, summer complaint, and worm fit in some people. Consult a physician before listening.
Hey, I heard you like movies.
I heard you like to hustle.
I heard you like podcasts.
Well, guess what?
There's a podcast for you out there called The Home Video Hustle.
Damn right.
Every Friday, we talk about whatever movie PJ picks out the bag. What does that mean? Every Wednesday on our YouTube page, I put a bunch of movies in a bag, and PJ picks one out at random. And then we just watch it. We talk about it for maybe like an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever we feel like doing, wherever the conversation leads us.
But do we actually talk about the movie?
Most of the time. Tangents galore.
Yes.
So believe me, we may be a movie podcast, but it's not always about movies. We might talk about video games,
Music.
Yeah, that's the big one, music. Sometimes we might get a little bit of politicalness in there.
Yes.
Sometimes we may just, we know what we like to do. We like to tell stories, PJ.
Yes.
I am the master storyteller
Yes.
of the podcast realm. Undefeated. So if you like to hear about movies, video games, whatever foolishness comes to our mind, the most random stuff you could think of, check out the Home Video Hustle. You can find us on the Stitchers,
Yes.
the Google Play,
Yes.
Apple Podcasts,
What else?
Podbean,
What else?
Podcast Addict,
Goddamn.
all that. Ain't no reason you can't get your hustle on. We everywhere, worldwide, baby.
Hustle, motherfucking hustle.
Hey, we can't cuss in the promo, PJ.
Ah.
We gotta be family friendly. There may be podcasts out there that don't want his hair say
Ah. Ah.
all that good fun stuff.
Well, you.
Don't run the listeners away, PJ.
I'm sorry.
But this is going kind of long.
Yes.
So we'll end this and say, hey, check out the Home Video Hustle every Friday on all the various podcast outlets. Peace.
Peace.
As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. And while Witch didn't make it to the top of the world, he did make the Gangs of Hollywood podcast. So join the gang and enjoy a movie review podcast about movie gangs, gangsters, mobsters, and the mayhem they cause. You can find GOH Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. At GOHPod, at www.gohpod.com, as well as your favorite podcast listening app. And remember, say hello to your little friend, for me.
If you take two old punk rockers who are past their prime, put them in front of a movie screen, and give them a podcast, what do you get? Cinema Punks. Cinepunks. It's the mixtape of movies.
Did you ever see a film at such a young age it left you traumatized with cinematic wounds? Necrophilia. It's a dead issue, man. Don't push it. Cinema Psyops is a weekly podcast documenting an ongoing experiment on the mind of an unwilling test subject.
No one should have to watch this movie.
Oh, no one should have to watch this?
No one should have to watch this movie.
Surprisingly, it's not a topic that a lot of people really want to tackle.
I'm shocked, prudes.
I know, really.
Right?
It's the next sexual frontier that no one wants to explore.
I am, in the most sincerest of senses, disappointed in you.
It takes a powerful goddess like Connie, jam her arm down the monster's throat and kill it. Oh, I'm still tripping out over that. Even as a kid, I was like, I gotta find a girl like that. Every week, I get a new look of disappointment that I never thought I could get out of her.
Unimaginable. At 12 years old, you should not be watching this movie.
Obviously.
At 13, you should not be. 14, you shouldn't be. I'm not entirely sure even 17-year-olds should be watching this.
Just because you're offended by something doesn't mean that you have the right to demand that it doesn't exist. Watching this film again, I had all of this like little nerd glee with everything that kept
little
popping
history
up.
doll popping up
absolutely.
at you.
So I totally loved this film.
Hey, I know why you couldn't see that. It's because your brain's warped from watching this shit at 12 years old.
Yeah, this is a rough movie. I told you ahead of time when we were getting ready to do it that it was.
How
gonna be
did
a
you
rough
watch
one.
this shit at 12?
Because physical wounds heal, cinematic ones don't. Listen to Cinema Psyops.
It's time, let's check our cue, baby. Pair it with a couple brews, baby. We love good movies. We love the bad ones too. So we watch them all and pass their lessons on to you. Oh yeah. Everything I learned from movies helps to make life a little bit groovy. Whether one last plot holes or gratuitous movies, it's time to get busy with your friend Stephen Izzy at eilfm.podbean.com.
We now continue with our program.
A lot of people say it's dated, and it is in its view of things and how things played out. But Bogart is so perfect in that role. He's at the end of his life. Totally. As you said, he was ravaged by his cancer.
And it's a good way to go out on, because I mean, you get a performance from him in Desperate Hours, but it's not anywhere near the depth of this role. He's flat out having to encourage this boxer, hey, you might get killed by the other mobster owned.
Exactly. Yeah. And
boxer, and you got to just
and he's not one of these. His character, and he brings it out so beautifully in the conversations he has with his wife when he's home.
Yes.
He doesn't think of these guys aren't all palookas. They're real men being used and thrown away and murdered.
He's not giving empty promises either, and he gives a few good speeches, and I mean, much like what's his name, who also had cancer and was a trooper.
McQueen?
Not McQueen. I think more like classic kind of
horror. Oh my God! So many people had cancer.
Yeah, I know.
Karloff had cancer.
It was Boris Karloff. Yeah, that's who I'm thinking.
Okay, there you go.
He was in one of those Italian movies, and he was willing to do it again and again and again and again, whatever movie it was. It's like, that says something.
Might have been, there might have been a few, yeah.
Emmanuel in Paris, I don't know.
Right.
I don't know what movie it was.
Yeah, what?
Boris Karloff?
Why not?
Skinemax porn? Nice.
Yeah. Why not? Marjoe Gortner was in a space. movie, so why not?
There you go. As long as they don't take it off, I'm cool.
Please. No, but he's so, he's not the cliched sports writer of
No, not at all.
1950.
This isn't even a Rocky type movie, This
No,
is more,
it's real stuff, and
People are
it
gonna
is
get hurt.
dated only because it was made when it was made. It's very real things that are happening even today, I'm sure.
Totally.
And this guy's, like I said, he didn't see him one character. They're a bunch of palookas, and he doesn't say it, but he's like, no, they're not. You know what I mean?
Well,
These
then
kids,
I think it helps that he's been in movies like Bullets or Ballots, which also dealing with shady boxing moguls, but this one just has more depth, and I think it just pays off.
Has a lot of depth. And it's a wonderful, and for those who haven't seen it, I won't give away the final shot, but the final shot is it's just and then Jar Jar Binks comes out. No, but the final shot, is
And
just
then
him
lens flare.
typing something. I won't say what he types, but it's brilliant. And what a way for him to go out! I fully believe it's in his top 5 performances. I've always been a huge fan of that performance. The film is really great, but his performance is masterful in that movie.
Yeah. It's one of those movies you watch and you check to see if there's a Sidney Lumet or Elia Kazan credit. Of course, there isn't.
Oh, exactly.
You can't be blamed because, this is someone not just playing to the camera, not just playing to the audience, but speaking the last bit of their soul before,
Oh, sure. And everything is authentic, like you said. It could have been Lumet, or it could have been, but everything's authentic. It's a New York film.
And you just wouldn't have gotten the same thing out of anyone else, like a Lancaster or a Spencer Tracy. Just nothing.
No, Lancaster would have gone too big. And I'm not knocking Lancaster. I love him.
Yeah, he would have been the boxer who gets in the ring.
Yeah, he would have.
That's what he wasn't realizing.
Yeah, right. He had that big grin on his face. We'll save them all. Yeah.
We'll save them all.
Right. I'll get the mob out of town. Yeah.
I'm a cowboy.
Yeah. Then he called Kirk to help him. I'll help you.
I'm sounding like a Jimmy Durante if he had been punched a few different times upside the face.
That's true, right? Yeah. Anyway, there's 7 harder to fall.
You fucking
excuse me.
You fucking owned it. So I'm gonna go with a better known one, Treasure of the Sierra Madre.
Never heard of it.
Wow.
I'd like to, since this is going out to the world. That's my father's. That's my father's all-time favorite film.
Secretly, I do wish this could have been his own trilogy, especially since this is the inspiration for every Indiana Jones post-adventure movie. But it's just
definitely
just that scene where he's in the cave and he's just looking at all the greed he's surrounded by versus his own. It's again perfectly staged, lit, but he just absolutely resonated with this anti-hero.
He really did, and in many ways he is the anti-hero of cinema, because because it's Bogart. Retrospectively, nobody thinks of him as the anti-hero in that movie.
Exactly, and he looked odd enough to where he just got all the creep and sleaze roles, but at the same time, the chicks dug him, the guys liked him, and it's just another one of those, just making use of the corner you're in. No one puts Bogey in the corner.
Nobody puts Bogey in the corner. That's fantastic.
So, and just again, this is just an excellent movie. It really has stood the test of time by, hell, The Five Bloods by Spike Lee is totally inspired.
Oh God, yeah, it's Treasure Sierra Madre is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a treasure, and it's been remastered who knows how many times. It's always, I'm sure that everybody, including David Lean and Tarantino, have quoted this movie nonstop without even realizing it.
It's just for me, it's one of, when Roger Ebert was alive, on his website, he used to do once a month the great films, and he'd pick one and talk about it. It is. The Treasure of the Sierra Madre is truly one of the great films. It really is.
He would definitely, and it's weird. It's coming off right around the same time as Wages of Fear.
Yeah,
And all these other
couple
movies.
years later.
And John Huston is also just really, doing good, be in front of and behind the camera. And once again,
He dove right into the Houston as a director dove right into the deep end.
Mm-hmm. Great early stuff. Less said about the later stuff, the better. But I mean, it's just so wow. This is years before his villainous turn in Chinatown, and
yeah,
he is also just. Bogart could have easily let him taken his movie away from him, and he's the first build guy, but he doesn't. He just
sure.
He stands his ground because that's what everyone is actually doing in the thing. You're like, back off. This is my loot.
Right, exactly.
And they personalize it through the actions, which is what it needed, but it just. I wish more movies were inspired by this. That is for sure.
Yeah, I am.
Because everyone's trying to rip off David Ayer or Michael Mann or Tony Scott, and it's like, no, you should be ripping off John Huston.
Exactly. Every single movie you should be ripping
Curtis,
off. You should be ripping off Kurosawa, John Huston. I mean, yeah.
Instead of referencing High Noon, why don't you rip off an Anthony Mann, Jimmy Stewart Western?
Yeah, show me something there. Right. Exactly.
That would take a lot of effort because everyone seems to only acknowledge the Frank Capra era of Stewart. What the hell is wrong with this world?
There's something wrong with this world if everybody can't name the Anthony Mann, Jimmy Stewart Westerns and talk about them in length.
Winchester 73, holy shit.
One of the best. That could be my favorite. I have to give some thought.
And that was one, it was really complex. It didn't really, I missed so many layers, and just for whatever reason, I was watching it simultaneously like 3 different times within the span of 2 years because it's just on for whatever reason. It's just an older movie, and I just started enjoying it more and more, just catching up on it. And it is kind of one of those like the Oklahoma Kid, where it's a Western that's talked about, but not enough. And it's like, people.
Oh, sure. Yeah, exactly.
But Sierra Madre is kind of a neo-Western, I guess.
It is. I mean, I've heard people, when they list their Westerns, they list it, and I'm always, well, all right, I'll give it to you.
I mean, it is dealing with gold, and one of them at least has a gun. So.
Yeah. Somebody pulls a gun. And there's Mexicans, and it's hot. And one thing I love that sticks with me, I told you how for me, I watch how he sits down, stands in a doorway.
Yes.
In Treasures of Sierra Madre, if somebody said, in 30 seconds or less, tell me your favorite thing about Bogart's performance, I would say the way he wipes the sweat from the back of his neck and the way he scratches his unshaven face with his fingernails when he's thinking. And he's kind of scratching.
A lot.
Yeah.
Scratching his tail, he's scratching his hat. He's even just kind of doing a face palm without actually doing the one that he does in Casablanca. He's just actually.
I always wondered if Eli Wallach, when he performed Tuco in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I always wondered if he took his performance, at least pieces of it, from Bogart's in Sierra Madre, because he was always doing that same thing, but he was doing it in the same way.
And Clint Eastwood was kind of studying Bogey, but being his own kind of Burt Reynolds type dude.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, that's a good point, because I mean, so you got all these elements of all, adventure, Western, set, it's post-war, and it's a good thing you mentioned up the Mexican stuff. It's kind of like Touch of Evil, where you're just seeing the darkest depths of mankind just literally unleashed upon each other, and whether you like or hate the movie, you just can't look away from it. It's just like, okay.
Exactly. And I like what you said there, in turn.
I know. Touch of Evil's a controversial.
You just complimented me, I'll compliment you. Those two movies, and I'm sure there's a few more if I thought hard,
double feature, would you do it?
Just two of the best of the man turning on his fellow man for bullshit reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're taking dumps on each other without even doing it. They're just a flat out. They want to have all this stuff in front of them. They want to buy whores, bread, everything, and they already have to just decide who, one way or the other. It's one of us is leaving with all this loot.
Exactly. And
There
each
is
one
no
of them
splitting
says, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, and each one of them secretly says, and it's gonna be me, you know, until
Yeah.
they outwardly say it. And
What a-
it's
what
yeah,
a-
it's a perfect movie and a perfect performance.
Totally. I can't even really say that Bogart goes out of his way to start violence, but he's definitely going to end it because
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's never the cause in that one.
Finish him.
But he like you said, and then perfectly said, he'll end it.
Now I wish there had been kind of a Key Largo version of this
Really?
with Robinson as in Houston's part, and maybe Peter Lorre or Cagney in the third part. I always forget the third performer. That would have been cool. Just having them all play off against each other in this Madre setting. I would have maybe Orson Welles. That would have been fun.
That would have been wow. That's
maybe he could have been the narrator. Here is where men go to rot, if not
rot.
die.
That's where they die before their time.
Yes. This is not a real broadcast, people.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is not happening, you idiots.
Can I sell you on that? But
and one little piece of trivia, which you know, some of your listeners might not know, in Sam Peckinpah's great "Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia."
Oh, I thought you were going to say the Wild
he
Bunch.
asks when he asks Gig Young, "What's your name?" His name is.
What's your name?
Yeah, his name is Fred C. Dobbs.
Yeah, it's a reference to that. That is way to be a wise ass. It was great. And those are moments, that you really don't even. Good luck to seeing anyone sneak a reference like that nowadays.
Yeah, it would go over so many heads. No offense to all the young ones listening.
Yeah,
it would go over so many heads.
I know. I'm a millennial and I don't like what I am, but it's.
No, I mean younger than you, actually.
I don't know. It's,
well, you're what, 30? I'm 30 something. All the people who know me who hear this just smack their head.
But don't. So there you go. It's one of those where, God, this is a pineapple that everyone wants to eat, and I could recast it and make it even better, or it could have a lesser cast and would still be good. Would you do a double feature of this with Blood in the Sun or whatever, that one Gregory Peck Western?
Duel in the Sun?
Duel in the Sun.
Dear God, yes, I would.
It'd be such a torturous experience, and I would be so worth it.
That's a show on itself right there. Duel in the Sun. It's a movie that shouldn't work because it doesn't work, but it does
so
work.
Pretentious, and yet because they believe in it, and they're so it was the dead calm knife in the water of its day. So
that, and I stand by Jennifer Jones in that movie is one of the absolutely beautiful and sexiest women I've ever seen on screen.
Yeah,
but hey.
Oh man.
But no, yeah, that's a good, that would be a great double feature, because that's also elementally close to the themes of Houston's film. Yeah,
before everyone's trying to show other just different formulas showing thieves and looters and standoffs, is like these were kind of just the more common ones, just mixing some adventure, horror and mystery and Western elements, and you got a movie.
Exactly.
Listen, now I've hogged the mic too much. I gotta fire it back to you for number 5.
All right, number 5. I'm gonna go with a movie that is, I claim it's unfairly written off as Bogart in Japan, getting into trouble, getting into Bogart.
I know.
And I think you know where I'm going. Tokyo Joe.
Tokyo Joe. He has a very cool uniform in this one.
He really does, doesn't he? He really does. And in the moments where Teru Shimada doesn't steal everything, doesn't steal the movie away from him.
Right. Shiroma phone isn't here.
Bogart is wonderful in this movie, and why I think that, because the more I watch it, upon maybe first one or two viewings by anybody, you could say, yeah, that's Bogart doing the Bogart thing, because he gets
Bogey.
criminals. Yeah, he gets caught between the criminals, and he's in the middle of this and that, and then there's the woman, but he's so good in that movie, and his uniform works for him. He uses it. He uses his tuxedo in Casablanca. He uses his neck kerchief in Sierra Madre. He uses his uniform.
Yeah, he doesn't sit around and just smoke.
No, he
gets some bomber pilot moments.
But his bomb, and he's got the hat on a lot, and he's just trying to get his life back to the way it was before World War II, and nothing is the same. And he gets, I mean, look, plot wise, been there, done that at that time, and so is he.
To be fair,
there's this part.
To be fair, this makes me now wish he had been in some of John Wayne's movies and all the other guys, like From Here to Eternity, The Searchers, even Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, because
John Ford could have done well with Bogart.
Oh yeah, and here he kind of is, so to speak, kind of both the literal poster boy, both the movie and the character he represents. So
yeah, exactly. But no, he did. He doesn't just sleepwalk through it. You know, it's Casablanca-esque in certain aspects.
Totally. He's not like Sahara, where he's having to bark orders and look pissed off for 2 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I always wondered if he was really fully into Sahara. I mean, he's fine.
I think everyone hated working on it, but it was a picture and it paid the bills. And
exactly. And by the way, kudos. I was just speaking to my wife a couple of weeks ago. I want everybody to start calling them pictures again. I miss it. Everybody says films or movies now. I'm like, they're pictures.
They're pictures.
Like, kudos. Yeah. You'll look good. You'll be a big hit in the pictures. But no, in Tokyo Joe, he doesn't sleepwalk through the role, and it is very much. And you can tell probably when they wrote it, I'm writing this for Bogart. This is Bogart. I'm designing it for Bogart. But he nails it.
I will rewatch this. It was definitely an intriguing one. It definitely has way more for him to do versus what you see in Beat the Devil.
Very much so.
Where he's kind of just in smuggler mode and he's just letting the movie do the talking. And
exactly. And the movie does do the talking and Beat the Devil. I don't think Tokyo Joe is a great film. It's a good film. It's certainly a good film. I think could be probably his most undervalued performance.
That's true too, because they go for all the movies where he's instantly like killing people or robbing banks or bombing stuff, and it's like this one, he's pretty much just traveling. You know, it's a war picture, but you're rarely seeing battles, and he's mainly just on the base.
It's a man trying to pick his life back up.
Tour of duty,
and he can't do it, and he's fighting to do it. You know what I mean?
He has good. There's a romantic love interest in that one, if I recall correctly.
Oh no, there's always a woman. But no, there is. Yeah.
Great.
Florence Marley. Yeah.
But yeah, he really, that's one of his less melodramatic love triangles, I feel. Not love triangles, just love interests.
I'm sorry.
It's definitely one of his less melodramatic love interests.
It is less, and it's also, dare I say, a little less interesting as far as all the other love interests. I mean, they can't all be Bacall, but this one wasn't written as sharply as a lot of the others that he had to play.
Didn't he take this role and it was meant for someone else? Not Sinatra, but just some other big shot?
I am not 100% sure about Tokyo Joe.
I always kind of got that drift, like he was the third casting decision because.
Well, for me, it seems like it was designed for him. I mean, I don't know.
I'm sure they rewrote it, and
that's
Persona.
True.
It just felt like it was a From Here to Eternity kind of movie, and then they just downplayed.
It was the first movie filmed in post-war Japan.
Oh shit!
First Hollywood film, yeah.
Nice. Suck it, Sinatra.
Well, yeah, that's right. Take that, buddy. And all filmmakers that came after it. Yeah.
Jeez.
So, anyways, there you go. There's 5. Or number 5.
That's fucking amazing. I'm gonna go with number 4, another underrated war picture that kind of has some of Madre's elements. Maybe not as successful, but definitely a little more badass in the gunplay and the suspense. It's definitely as action hero-esque as you see him. And this is, I'm not even talking Petrified Forest here. I'm talking Passage to Marseilles.
Yeah.
And
Marseille, yeah.
I prefer this. He's reunited with it. Michael Curtis, director, and German villain Claude Rains. But I definitely like their showdown here. It's just Claude Rains is doing way more taunting to where you just wish he could have played the wizard in The Wizard of Oz, or some other big villain against Orson Welles. And here, Bogart gets a few one-liners in and wisecracks, and then when it's time to actually do the killing, he's pretty much a one-man samurai army, for lack of a better comparison. He's the gunfighter who actually knows when to duck and just come out and mow everyone down.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. And he had to get out of Devil's Island to do it.
Yeah, and so that's just it. It gives him enough to play because the stakes are raised. First, he's got to, loot the village. Then he's got to, save the girl and the other villagers. And then he's got to kill the rest of the bad guys, and they'll still actually escape. So it's like, because it's a war-torn island. And so it's very strikingly well shot, and Bogart is definitely, out of all the quieter moments, he's definitely very effective in those ones. So hats off. It works.
Oh, no, yeah. No, it's beautifully shot, by the way. And hats off to you for picking it. James Wong Howe, by the way, the great James Wong Howe shot it.
Yes, one of the early, he was Chinese, Hong Kong cinematographer who moved to Hollywood.
Yeah, Chinese. Mm-hmm.
There you go. And
fantastic. His work is phenomenal.
Yeah, and we see less sweat on Bogart's head and more just water trickling down his gun and explosions and
looking up a lot. He's always looking up.
He's looking up. I'm surprised there wasn't a God's eye viewpoint. They definitely couldn't afford it back then. But I mean, it's funny how he does a lot of just you see a lot of the jungle.
Right. Oh no, it's fantastic. That's a perfect choice. It's a damn good movie.
Kind of underseen a bit. I mean, it definitely got its due treatment, like all the other war propaganda movies he was in. But this one, if there's any propaganda, it's once again like Casablanca, where it's just downplayed to like one segment. It's all about the adventure.
And then like Nazis are the bad guys. Okay, move on. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's what they really want to do with it. No, that's a damn good choice. And it's one of the Bogart movies that was big at the time. Big hit. Critics were pretty kind, I think. And but now if you say, hey, Passage to Marseille there, who's in there? Well, that's Bogart, sir. You know what I mean? Like,
excuse you.
It's one of those ones. Oh, I saw that. Is that where he fights for the French? Yeah, that's the one. That's kind of movie it's become now. It's sad, but
unfortunately,
that's like you say Casablanca, Big Sleep, Maltese. Everybody knows, but that's one of his better ones that some people need a kickstart.
Totally.
It's a great choice.
Thank you.
All right, my last two choices, I couldn't not go for big. Unfortunately, my number 2 you've already spoken about, so we'll save a little time on this one. Sierra Madre. Old Fred Dobbs. That was my number 2. I had it. You said it.
Oh yeah, you're on number 3 now.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm saying when I did my 5.
My bad. Yeah, I was just right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to confuse all the listeners out there.
No, it's all
so
good.
We're on 12, right? I did my 5. My second from the top is Fred Dobbs from Treasure Sierra Madre. Everything we spoke, I mean, I'm just reiterating at this point, but sweat, kerchief, scratch your beard, excellent. You know what I mean? What else can I say? I just keep saying it over and over again. Gotcha. One of the perfect movies, one of the perfect performances, And I almost had it as my top until I thought hard,
Snatched it.
and you'll find out what my top is.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, again, I could talk for an hour or more.
So
on
Sierra
Sierra.
Madre's on here twice, or
Yeah, so it's sorry, I didn't know you were gonna have it. We should have talked. I can replace it with another one.
Yeah, let's try that.
I can do that right now. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't know you said that. I'm like, oh,
That's fine.
no.
I mean, I'm not trying to hug it. I just...
No, I understand. We can't have the same thing twice.
we might have to preview it before we...
Yeah, right. No. Yeah, well, no, okay, so I dump that. In a Lonely Place would have to be the replacement.
That's an interesting one. No, that's
yeah?
cool.
Really? He's not a good guy. I mean, he's never a perfect guy, and especially in Sierra Madre, he's, the anti-heroes we spoke about. He's anti-hero a lot, but he's inherently a good guy in some of them. He's not a good guy.
It's not one that I remember, but as the screenwriter, I definitely remember the iconic moment that they show in all the trailers and TV.
Yeah.
Showing clips where they see him just reminiscing at the bar.
Yeah. But he's accused of murder, and he is a screenwriter. He's a screenwriter.
Yeah, it's a Sunset Boulevard type vehicle for him. So it's I mean, I think with this movie, I don't know, can we talk about spoilers? No, let's not do it. Did he do it? We don't know. I won't tell you, folks. I won't let you on the big. But he's not as, I'll just say this, he's not as bad as they're saying he is, but he's not clean, This guy has a bad soul in parts, and it's fun to watch Bogart in that film because you never get to see Bogart desperate. You know what I mean? No.
And
if he's thinking it, you have to imply it. He's hard to read.
Yeah, and he's a little desperate in this. I mean, hey, you're being accused of murder. I would be too. But he's never had to put a lid on what's bubbling up inside him, because Bogart never had the bubbling up. The closest thing to that was maybe Casablanca, where he had to keep his love down. But that didn't last but a few scenes, and then it comes bursting out there, talking to Bergman. But he really, it's a different, yeah. It's a different side of Bogart for most people. I know it was critically respected, and I'm not sure a lot of Bogart fans, return to that movie often. But I think it's a classic.
It's kind of
it's the Nicholas Ray. I mean, say no more.
True. It's kind of ridiculous to say, it's long, because all these movies are long. So I don't know. It gets played on TV definitely quite a lot. So I don't know why it's not as, and it's got an 8.0 still on all the movie sites. So
good. Yeah, I don't think it's very long. I think it's 90 minutes, maybe.
It's pretty short. It feels less than even 90 minutes. It's like 7 minutes.
But it's a different Bogart, and like I said, I was jockeying for that to be on the list. So now that we had to bump Dobbs because we don't need him twice. Yeah, we need to knock him right. Hit him in the back of the head with a shovel.
Oh.
This is a perfect one. I think it's underrated. Anybody who likes Humphrey Bogart needs to see. And again, it's weird to say that because it's such a respected movie, and those in the know, aficionados, know it.
Oh, you're listening.
Yeah. But In a Lonely Place, it's considered a Bogart classic, but it's not a Bogart film. And I think a lot of people maybe aren't.
It was around the time where they were finally figuring out, okay, we need more than just the names to sell the pictures now.
Yeah. He can. That kid can do other stuff. I tell you.
The material has to be good. We have to actually have a script.
Right, and I think Houston helped him along, and is one of the rare films that challenges Bogart. I think. Beyond what he used to do, and so that's my number 2, or number 3. Or where are we? I'm lost in our
Yeah,
list.
yeah, it's number 3. So I'll give you
Okay.
number 2 to do again.
All right. I have 5. So, but that's that's a
Woo.
perfect one. So there you go.
Very cool. So what were you thinking for number 2?
Wait, me? I thought
Oh
it was
yeah,
your turn.
I okay, yeah, I can go. High Sierra. For
There
number
you
2.
go. My dad, when he hears this, he'll be cheering. He loves that movie to death. So do I, mind you. But yeah.
Well, and it's definitely his most sympathetic criminal role, a guy who actually wants to leave it all behind and who just got caught in the worst possible robbery gone wrong. It's a watchdog adventure. All these coppers have nothing better to do, and they are leading a total manhunt. The final moments are a total, king of the world, Cagney moment, but it's just way more tragic because you actually, instead of being like Cagney or Paul Mooney where they're falling to their death, years before, Pacino's Scarface is like, here is like you feel every single bullet, and that's not a spoiler. I think they give it away in some of the trailer. And
Oh, sure, yeah.
I mean, it's a gangster movie, folks. When do they ever end happily?
I was gonna say they never walk hand in hand with their dame out into the sunset.
Totally. Gangster movies, if you spoil them more, it makes me want to see it more because now I want to see all the build up and how they got to be. As long as they don't pull a Carlitos away and give away them dying at the very beginning.
The one mistake of that great movie.
I know. It's like, why? Everything else is perfect.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Even Penelope Ann Miller, and no offense to her.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. High Sierra. It's kind of weird how this one. I always kind of got a bit of a High Noon vibe from it too, and this is before, I think. Yeah, it's before. It's like before.
Yeah, it was High Noon. Yeah.
So it's weird. I always just got that kind of just cowboy just leaving a troubled town, but it's really just it's gangster. So I guess you could compare it mainly, I guess, to Key Largo, just unusual incident that turns into some hostage standoffs and other stuff. And I mean, this is where we're definitely getting way more uncanny noirs with the likes of, again, Bogart's spouse, Bacall, as well as other people like Richard Basehart and all these other guys. So yeah, for me, this movie just speaks very loud and clear. I mean,
oh sure,
this is a movie that some other leading man could do of any era and would be also fine with, and it's just very visceral, and so that's why I just ranked it a little higher.
No, it belongs high. Raoul Walsh, he was a hell of a filmmaker.
Totally.
No, well, you described it so perfectly. All I can say is, yeah, me too. Yeah, me too. There's my
for sure.
There's my all these years of writing. Yeah, me too. But I mean, no, you really hit the nail on the head. You feel you don't want him to go. You know what I mean? Like like you mentioned Scarface, when Tony Montana died. Well, good. Somebody needed to put that idiot down.
And
you
it's hysterical and kind of just awesome and just it's locker room talk.
Same with White Heat. Good. Blow him up. He's a menace to society.
He slaps bitches. He kills people. And we, what's the other one? The Light Up City or something like that. It's another one.
With who?
It's another Cagney picture.
You talking about Public Enemy, maybe?
No. Same kind of movie, but it's like the roar. It's like I think it's the Roaring '20s or something. It's like
the Roaring '20s with Bogey.
Yeah, he's also in that one, also coincidentally, and I see that one used the most for stock footage of just gangster drive-bys.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
But yeah, he pulls a total Edward G. Robinson in The Last Gangster, just does a total coward, and just like you would hear like 9 gunshots, and he's just like, we don't even know that any of them even hit anything besides the concrete wall, and he just goes storming out of there injured.
Right.
And it's interesting how, yeah, these are again low budget pictures making great use of their material, and Bogey, you don't ever feel, you just feel like he's a brute with good intentions, just is in a shitty lifestyle, and it helps that all the other people who are double crossing him are just way worse than him. So it's just a easier to work with role.
Exactly.
As opposed to you know when he takes someone hostage, he's not here to kill him. He's just
That's right. Yeah.
He's here. Yeah, this is years before we had Vic on the Shield or Jack Bauer on 24, and he's like, just listen to me. Everything will be okay. Give me what I want now.
Right. Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Today's movie would be.
Don't listen to him.
Right. Give me your cell phone. Is like, here, it's. Don't walk out of the store. Wait, you're walking out of the store. Oh.
Wow.
Number one, dare we enter?
That's a hell of a pick. Well, first, let me tell you what I booted. I had them tied, and I said, no, I can't do that. I do that on my own page. I can't do that on your show. So I had to boot one for number. I had a tie for number one. My tie for number one.
Are we going to do his classic detective movies?
No. Well, no.
I figured
Classic, not detective.
I
had a hard time not putting Maltese and Big Sleep on here.
I was thinking of that, and I was like, but at the same time, those movies are just kind of bigger than life. That again,
yeah. And if we were doing his films, they would be definitely on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the performances. Like, can't see anyone else in the role. And same thing with Casablanca. I mean, he's great, but you're telling me you couldn't get someone like, I don't know, Cary Grant?
Exactly. Yeah. And as much as I love him in Casablanca, you're right. But the one I booted is by one of me and John Carpenter's favorite filmmakers, and one of probably my favorite writer, Ernest Hemingway, and Howard Hawks, To Have and Have Not, where he plays yet again another expatriate during World War II.
Very good.
I love this film so much, and I love Bogart in it, and for all the reasons that we've spoken about, he just, he didn't need to be lifted up by any fellow actors, because it's
also a comedy.
Yeah, very much so. But I think when he worked with Bacall, he really had that extra inch. You know what I mean? If you'll forgive the metaphor.
I was just about to say.
Right, yeah. You'll forgive the NC-17 metaphor all of a sudden. As I said that, I realized how that sounded. I apologize. But
this is a pre-code movie, everybody.
Let me rewind that. I think she helped him step up his game a little bit. And he already had so much game. I just think he is perfect of all the...
He got laid. That is for sure.
Well, yeah. Darn it, he sure did. No, but of all the expats that he ever played, I think, even over Casablanca and how I talked about him in that movie, I think this is it. In the role in To Have and Have Not. Everything is perfect. The cigarette smoking is perfect. The way he looks at Bacall is amazing to me. Yes. It's already a great story. It's just a perfect entity of cinema. I know we're talking about his performances. I just have to say that what he does in that film is so natural, and so you can't, gay, straight, man, woman, child, old, you cannot take your eyes off of Humphrey Bogart in To Have and Have Not. The only time you come close is when Bacall comes into the scene.
Oh yeah, and I mean, she always gets the better establishing shots just because she also, like Bogey, has the gaze. Is like,
she's got the lighting and
dream woman. Could either be a lady of the night, or it could just be the girl of your dreams.
Yeah. So I had to boot that. That got booted. So my number one is The African Queen.
Ooh, okay, perfect.
Which is a strange choice because I liked it and didn't fall in love with it until my 30s, I'd say. Yesterday. Yesterday. No.
When I was
in my 30s when I realized, no, he is great in that movie. It's more than banter. And I think a lot of people, that's where, even though I like the film, that's where Rooster Cogburn failed.
Yes. Yes.
Because it became mere banter. It was fun, and I enjoy the movie, and they're great at the banter, but it's just banter. That's all it is. An African Queen, this guy is physically, emotionally, and battle scarred, and he's done with bureaucrats, and he's done with politics, and he's done with war. He just wants to be, and here she is throwing a monkey wrench into his program. And you can see in his diction, in his tone, how he is just fighting himself not to punch this lady over the side of the boat. And not for stupid reasons. For
love hate. Yeah.
I'm speaking metaphorically, of course. But I just think it is for me, the Bogart role that's not Big Sleeper, Maltese Pelican. It's the Bogart role. He's just amazing in it, and the two of them going at it is just beautiful.
His charisma and their chemistry does work.
Chemistry is fantastic, and
instead of being a Ryan O'Neal type movie, you're like, yeah,
yeah,
no one gave a shit.
And I don't know how well you know African Queen, and if you don't know it better. No, he a lot of times for a long time he's not looking at her. He's not looking at her. He can't look at her. He doesn't want to look at her. I'm pissed off at you. Wait,
were they actually pissed off for real?
Yeah, well, maybe, probably. I can't stand you. Nah, I don't know, but he a lot of times, and then as the bond starts growing, he wants to look at her, and he starts looking at her more, and he looks at her more, looks at her more, and then of course we all know how the movie goes on, and
wow, chicka wow wow,
and it's fantastic. For me, it's the Bogart performance. If I had to choose only one, which I just did, that would be it. That's my number one.
Very cool.
And it's also my number 2 Houston film, I think. Yeah.
Out of all people who recurred, he's definitely made good use on that formula. He's also he definitely is an underrated soldier actor. I know when we think soldiers, we think of anyone who's been playing spies or been in some epic war film. So you might think someone like Ethan Hawke, DiCaprio, Matt Damon, Jamal Hunzel, whatever.
Sure.
It's like, but for Bogart, he's definitely. I would follow him into battle, and it would be quite an intrigue.
Definitely. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I love the fact that he loves his gin more than himself in the African Queen.
Yes, it's very telling. I think that's why other people, especially if they're alcoholics, relate to it. It's like, jeez, it's pretty deep.
Yeah, he would rather that boat sink than his bottle of gin.
He doesn't need the boat. He doesn't need her, but he puts up with her, and she needs him. So
yeah. Another great. Have you noticed? More than a few of our choices, I think, have been World War II or just after World War II.
Absolutely.
Films. Yeah.
Because he didn't really star in any. He virtually didn't. Even with Oklahoma Kid, you can't tell me that's really a Civil War picture. Yeah, he didn't really. He didn't even have World War I stuff. He just there's Action in the North Atlantic, which is probably one of his better war movies. But I'll give an honorable mention to a movie that is often he is supposedly finds to be one of 2 of his worst pictures, but he's actually really brilliant in The Return of Dr. X, an unrelated sequel.
Yeah, no, I actually posted about that last year in the horror group I run. Yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Yeah. It's okay, and he's good.
And I don't think this is the movie where he also plays a blind killer. Or
No,
maybe it is.
No, it's not.
I've been trying to look up what is that movie. I cannot for the life of me remember it. It might be King of the Underworld.
I'm not sure.
Because he tries to kill this one damsel at the very end, and he's blind. It's like wait until dark almost kind of moment.
Huh.
But he's just plays an asshole who goes on a killing spree, and I would have to go for his resume all over again. Damn you, movie. But yeah, Return Dr. X is just kind of, it's not much of a movie, really, but it's cool seeing the performances and him with the crazy hair.
Oh, God, yeah.
Francis look.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And I would definitely give it a rewatch, especially if we wanted to do a random Halloween marathon.
Oh, that's a perfect choice for like an old-fashioned pop some popcorn and watch an old
Right.
creepy black and white movie. It's not really creepy, but it's fun.
Exactly. You don't want to do Universal Horror Monsters, or if you are sick of having your aunt and uncle show you Plan 9 from Outer Space, you could definitely check this one out. And just
Exactly. It's better. It's better.
I know. And more or less just kind of a laid back kind of movie. It's like, it's just, I mean, before there was the thing where you had movies on in the background while you did chores, this is this kind of movie.
Yeah, there you go. That's exactly it. But it's a fun watch. It really, and especially for genre fans, it's a fun watch. And it's interesting to see Bogart like that.
Totally.
Yeah. Good choice. Good little mention there. Good little honor. I should have done an honorable mention. The Kane Mutiny would be my honorable mention, but
it's
that already honorable.
To be fair, that was the first movie I saw him in. That played on History Channel quite a lot, and yeah, that was definitely one where I just saw as like, okay, he's not just the gangster guy.
Right.
I hear people talk.
Really good in that movie.
Yeah.
Quick sidebar, Your Honor. Robert Altman did a very interesting television version of that.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, really good.
I have to check it
Didn't mean to make you tired on Altman.
No, I'm just Jesus, I've been up since 4 in the morning.
Ah, youch. Yeah. All right, well, I think we're at your numero uno, aren't we?
Yeah, you gave Kane Mutiny for number 1, so I mean.
No, I didn't. I gave African Queen for number 1.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, Kane.
That was my special shout out. Yeah.
Yeah. We pretty much wrapped it up. So.
Oh yeah, I guess I did.
Anthony, where can we find you on the interwebs? Just to plug you.
Well, at the moment, I'm retooling my website for Widescreen, the film discussion podcast, which is coming back in October.
Woo!
And I will also be having a side podcast. It'll be on the same website. I don't have it yet, but for Theater of Blood Horror Show.
Nice. You're on that one.
All the info at my Facebook groups, and you can find my movie reviews, interviews, and articles at screencomment.com under Anthony Francis, and I will soon be contributing to the great actionflix.com. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to speaking to you again, and when I get my podcast going again, I'm looking forward to bringing you on.
Anytime. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you for this invite. It was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. It was a good way to start it all, and
it was. I guess I'll say good night, everyone, and thank you. It was fantastic. I really do appreciate it. It was good, and what a great subject to start out with. We dove right in. Humphrey Bogart. Come on.
I mean, who'd have thought it? And I figured it was going to be. I thought this would just be a fun way to start off because it was just going to be a challenge because he's just done so much that a lot of people like.
I know. I was when I was doing my list the other day. I said, wait, is The Big Sleep, which is one of my favorite movies, The Big Sleep, is this really not on it? And then I had to keep doing I do this when I make lists and people say, well, what about this movie and that movie? I'm like, well, if I was doing the movies, that would be on there. I'm doing the performances, I had to keep reminding myself, so that...
the same thing when I do the best action movies is like, I'm not... Any movie where they just make a cameo, I'm not going to put that on there.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Or if they're a supporting role, it better be a more key supporting role or performance.
Yeah.
Or
like if we did Kirk Douglas, I wouldn't put his part in the list of Adrian Messenger. It's a little cameo.
Yeah, what are you going to put on there? Diamonds, one of his last movies? What?
Right. It Runs in the Family? Oh, boy.
Oh.
Darn it. He couldn't have done one more. That's all right.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah. That'd be a good one someday. I'd love to. We could do a double whammy of Burt and Kirk. Burt Lancaster and Kirk Douglas. Their best roles.
That would be cool. I'm down for that. So now I just got to do creative.
All right.
Oh, man. So thank you ever so much for just skyrocketing. This has definitely been one of my favorites to record for the beginning of next year.
Right on. Yeah, this is great. Let's do one a day.
I'd be down. Boy, howdy.
I know, man. I could totally do that.
Woo! Great to learn more about you and just the film scene, how it's still staying alive even in this troublesome era.
It is, and I tell you, I will do what I have to do, and I'm proud and happy to do it, but boy, do I miss sitting in a theater. Good or bad, the outcome of the movie. I just miss the smell, the sound, the feel.
Follow us on the web on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. The podcast is available on Podbean, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor, Apple, and anywhere else podcasts are available. Feel free to review our show and leave comments on any of those sites. Thanks a million for listening.
It's a jacked up